Today I'm going to compare 3 different heated vests. This one was given to me by the brand, and these are 2 that I purchased and already owned from winters past. And this is an infrared thermometer that I'm going to use to do the comparison. It doesn't care who paid for what, and neither do I, so let's get into it. And just so we're clear about what it is we're testing, Soleilwear, Venustas, and Chaparel. Venustas is the one that was provided to me by the brand. The other 2 I purchased in prior years. And like I said before, it's not going to matter because we're going to use this to do the test. And before starting the comparison, I fully charged all the batteries and matched them to the right vest. Since we've got the batteries out, let's go ahead and start here. The Venustas right here and the Chaparel, both are using 7.4 volt lithium packs. The Soleilwear is using a 5 volt standard USB power bank. 7.4 volts doesn't automatically mean better, but it can provide considerably more power, and that's why we're going to use the infrared thermometer, because we want to see what actually happens when we plug these things in and turn them on. In terms of mAh, this is 16,000 mAh, the Venustas is 5,000 mAh, and the Soleilwear is 12,000 mAh. But again, it's 5 volt, so we're going to set it aside for a second. Both of these manufacturers claim that these batteries will heat their respective vests for up to 10 hours, and that's one of the other things that I really want to test out, because that is a significant amount of difference in size, and many shoppers would think that would result in one heating faster or staying warm longer than the other one, but that's not necessarily true, and that's why we have to run this test. And just to establish a baseline before we ever turn the vests on, I just wanted to get temperature readings of each one, and you can see both the Venustas and the Chaparel were around 72.5, and the Soleilwear was around 73 degrees. So I'm going to start with the vest that I feel is most different from the other 2, which is the Soleilwear, and the reason I think it's most different is not only does it have the 5 volt standard battery rather than the 7.4 volt battery, it also has a different material. It's not fleece, the other 2 are, and this is made out of 100% nylon, more like a ski jacket type material, although it's not really thick. I'd call this a medium weight vest, I guess. Therefore also it's not really cumbersome to wear, which I actually like. This is the only battery that has 2 USBs and a USB-C. This is actually how you charge the battery, and as you can see, it has a USB connector to actually connect to it. So you can theoretically use either one of these to charge a cell phone. However, remember, you're already working with less volts, so if you're going to charge your phone too, you may find that that'll draw your battery down even faster. And if you're really cold, you probably don't want to do that if you don't have to. Now, just to note, this is a double XL, and I normally wear a double XL, or at least now I do. In better days, I wore an XL, which one of those vests is an XL. Now, another thing that's different about this vest is it has 9 heating zones, including your neck, your chest, mid and lower back, and underneath both pockets. And having heating in the pockets is a nice feature. But do more heating zones actually keep you warmer? Because keep in mind, that's more heating zones powered by that 5 volt battery. All of these vests have a low, medium, and high setting. One of the vests will actually let you adjust each zone separately. Here's the reality of it though. Whenever I wear heated apparel, it always goes straight to the highest setting because I'm cold. That's why I'm wearing it. So that's how I'm going to test them today. So each one of these things is going to be tested as far as how hot it gets at its highest setting. I will measure each zone, and I want to see how long it'll actually stay warm on its highest setting and how long it takes the battery to go out. So on this one, you have low, medium, and high. We'll just put it on high and let it warm up while we're looking at the other 2. The battery for Venustas has your in-out there, which is where you charge it, and it also has an output there. So either one of those can be used for charging your phone if you needed to, and the DC out there is actually how it connects to the vest itself. So just put that in there. All of them also have batteries that zip up into the inside pocket. Here's the Venustas vest. It is also a double XL. If you like your clothing a little bit larger, you probably want to order a size up on any one of these brands. But if you want the full effect of the heating elements, you probably want to just go ahead and order your normal size on any of them, because they do work best, I think, when they're closer to your body. Now, this one by Venustas is fleece. I like the fleece a little bit better than I like the nylon. Just in general, I think it feels closer to something I just pick up and throw on, like a hoodie or something like that. The material's just, to me, it's just more comfortable. You might think to yourself, well, why are you getting a heated vest when your arms are exposed? And for me, that's all about keeping my arms free. I don't like big, heavy, bulky jackets, especially when I'm driving or doing any type of work. Another reason why I like vests over jackets sometimes is we go to sporting events quite often. Major League Soccer that runs into the fall, NFL football that goes all through the winter, and it's cold out there, but you have your gear on, you want to show it off, maybe you got a jersey on or whatnot. So I like a vest in that situation because I can still show off my gear, but I can keep my core warm at the same time. As far as heating panels go, in this one you have your collar, both chest panels, and your mid-back. So there are 6 different elements. Now you don't have elements in your pockets in this one, but the pockets are fleece inside, just like the outside, and they are warm. I did immediately notice that the quality of this vest was pretty good. I noticed that it had YKK zippers. That's not something you see on a lot of these products. In fact, neither of the other 2 vests have those. One thing you'll want to know about this vest is that those 6 heating panels are mainly focused on your upper body. So this is a great vest to wear if you're working outdoors. This one has low, medium, and high as well. And we're going to let it start heating up while we put the other one on and go through the features of it. Now, I do want to point out that as I'm talking to you about these other vests, this vest has been heating up for a few minutes now, and it's not a whole lot warmer than when I first turned it on. And keep in mind, it's on high. This little LED is actually warmer than the rest of the vest right now. Until I get up here to the collar. The collar is actually reading about 90 degrees, anywhere from 87 to 93 degrees, depending on which part of the collar. I can feel the LED here, and it's actually warmer than the rest of the jacket. So right here, but as soon as I put that laser up here, we actually can see that the LED is warmer than the jacket. Now, once we push this down a little bit, it does take it up to 85. And that probably has to do with the fit too. So keep in mind that when you're ordering this, if you order it a size larger than you are, because you like your clothing a little bit larger, you're probably giving up some warmth by having it not as close to your skin. Because as this is looser, it definitely reads less than if I tighten it out. Not a lot less, but a little bit less. Now let's go up here to the collar. I want you to see when we hit the collar there, we're in the 90s or close to it. So again, Soleilwear still heating up, still has some time, but just keep that in mind for now. This one I just placed here. I haven't had it here as long as the other jacket because this is the second jacket I put on. The collar is already reading 95. Now, that's not the most impressive thing. The most impressive thing is that the rest of the jacket is also quite a bit warmer than the other jacket. This jacket I just turned on and we're already heating up faster than the other jacket. So that 7.4 volt battery does make a difference. Lastly, we have the Chaparel, and this is the one that I told you, you not only had the low, medium, and high on, but you could also do that individually in each zone. It is also the one with the larger battery. Also, if you're wondering, I wear these into stadiums all the time, and I've never had an issue getting stopped or anything like that. I wondered the first time I wore it, would security like make me leave this behind the battery, and they never have. So they must know that it's nothing that's going to hurt anybody. Now the Chaparel is an extra large, so it's a little bit snug on me, but it's made of a very similar material as the Venustas. It's a fleece also, and it does have 6 heating zones just like the Venustas. However, they're located in different areas. On the Chaparel, it's in the neck, the back, and the waist area more so than the upper body, and it's more oriented towards heating your core. You also have the low, medium, and high, just like I said before, but on this one, you can actually decide which zone you're going to do what on. If you wanted to have one on high, one on medium, and one on low, you could certainly do that. But for today's test, we're going to have them all on high. There are your zones as well. So you notice you've got the lower front there, the whole back and the neck. So unlike the Venustas where you have heating elements in the upper part of the vest, on this one it's more focused in the front anyway on the lower portion. Your back is almost entirely covered and your neck is covered, but your chest is not. So that is something to note on this. This is more oriented towards your core. So I just turned on the Chaparel, and let's just take a chest reading of the Chaparel. So it's 74.4. It hasn't really gone up much at all, but again, I just turned it on. The collar of this one is definitely heating up though at 92 degrees, 93 degrees. Again, this was just turned on. So the Chaparel hasn't been up and running very long. Let's give it a few minutes and retest it. And this Venustas here has been up for about 5 minutes or so, and we're at, 79, 80. Oh, we're cooking in the neck area there though. Once you get up to the neck area, it seems like of all of these, you're gonna get a better reading. But you can see that's ranging anywhere from 93 to 96. Reading there on the shoulder area. Let's take a look at the back since it's been up for about 5 minutes. Just kind of scanning the jacket a little bit so you can see what you're getting there. So this one hasn't been on that long, been on about 5 minutes, but it is definitely warming up. In fact, when I pick it up there in the shoulder, can definitely feel the warmth on the shoulder itself. In fact, I should probably get a reading of the shoulder. Oh yeah, the shoulder's at 99, 98.9. So it's definitely warming up quickly. This one I have my doubts about, to be honest with you, is whether it's going to get much hotter. I've worn this several times. I always did kind of think that, oh, I've got it on high, but it's not that warm. So we'll see. All the vests have had at least 30 minutes to warm up now. So let's go back and take readings of all of them and see where they're at. I'm going to start with the Soleilwear since this was the first one that we put on. And we're still on the outside here at 76, around that. This one had the 9 heating panels with the 5-volt battery, so it's understandable that it is a little underpowered. Obviously, the outside isn't what's important. What's important is the inside of the vest. 90, about 100, 103 in some areas. We'll give that a max reading of 103 from what I can find so far. It was hard to find that too. This area here would be one of the pockets right in there. That's in the pocket area. And also the collar to grab and feel of it. I got 101 there for a split second. And I just put this back on just to see how it felt. Only place on this entire jacket that the heat is very noticeable is the neck area. You can feel it in the back a little bit. So pretty much it's consistent with the readings. To be on high, which is what this is on and has been on now for over a half hour, just doesn't seem like it's putting out a lot of heat. That being said, it's definitely better than no heat at all. But as far as heated apparel goes, I would definitely call this underpowered. All right, so the next up is the Venustas, and I'm going to open it up here, take some measurements of it. Let's just give it a quick couple readings. Okay, we're instantly getting pretty consistent readings over 90 on this first panel. You have a panel here in the shoulder area. It's giving me 90s in there, so it's pretty consistent with the other panel. Getting 95 over here, 94, 95. Let's just check the neck. Getting the 80s. Sides here, again in the 90s. High 80s in the 90 area. The first thing I noticed when I put the Venustas back on is that it is way more consistent than the Soleil is. I can definitely feel the heat in all the panels. And just like the readings showed, pretty much within a few degrees of each other, all these panels are pretty consistently the same temperature or close to the same temperature as each other, which that makes a noticeable difference in the feel of the vest when you have it on. The other vest just felt like the neck was warm and nothing else really was. This one feels like my entire upper body is warm. Still not super hot, like it's on high, so you would think it might be a little warmer than it is, but it is noticeably warmer than the Soleil vest that I just had on, and it's much more consistent. The heat that I do feel is very consistent throughout the panels. I feel it in my neck, I feel it in my shoulders and my chest and my back, very, very consistently. So let's hang this back up while we take a look at the Chaparel. Now let's take a look at the Chaparel. We've got a couple different panels here we can check. Getting in the 90s on that one, getting in the 90s on that one. Seems to be very, very similar, and I'm trying to get into different areas of the panels just to make sure that I'm getting the best readings I can get, because they do differ. You can get right on a wire and get a different reading than, and what we're concerned with is the overall temperature of the jacket, not necessarily one little max reading from one wire. And of course we'll get there as well in the high 80s, getting really close to 90 in there. Okay. I actually have a panel over here too, and it's in the 90s. Some of the core readings on the Chaparel are higher than the other jackets, or a little more consistently higher than the other jackets. Have another one over here, again in the 90s, pretty consistently in the 90s. You can see here though, we're reading anywhere from the high 80s to the mid 90s in there. So when I put the Chaparel on, what do I feel? Well, for one thing, snug, because it's the wrong size. But aside from that, it's pretty similar to the Venustas. It's very, very similar. The difference is the heat that I feel is here more than it is up through here. Really, with the Venustas and the Chaparel, the feeling is much the same as far as consistency and the amount of warmth. The difference is where you feel it. But let's see which one of these actually holds its battery life the longest when we just leave them on high and let them run. Kind of no surprise that after less than a few hours, the Soleilwear battery has been fully depleted. I started this test at around 1:30. It's not even 4:30 in the afternoon yet, and this one is completely out. I'm just going to pull the battery out and just make 100% sure that we are fully depleted here, just so you can see 1 out of 4 dots blinking, basically telling us to charge the battery. That was the 5-volt system, and I'm not really surprised that it's out really less than 3 hours later. The Venustas also went out just minutes after the Soleil, lasted virtually the same amount of time, a little less than 3 hours on high. However, remember, it was a warmer vest with a more consistent warmth throughout. In the Soleil, we were running a 12,000 mAh battery on 5 volts. In the Venustas, we had a 7.4 volt, but with only 5,000 mAh. And while the 7.4 volts did provide us with more warmth and a much more consistent warmth, it didn't really provide us with any more time as far as how long the vest will last. So this went out just virtually almost in the same amount of time as the Soleil did. And just to kind of show you, it's pretty much fully depleted in around 3 hours. And while the other two vests have completely depleted their batteries, the Chaparel is actually still going strong because it has that 7.4 volt battery combined with the 16,000 mAh. So we're going to leave it on and just see how much longer it actually lasts. Just checking back in on the jackets to see how much longer this would last. It's over an hour later and we are still going strong. And the Chaparel battery finally was fully depleted at about 5:45 p.m., giving it a total on high at about 4 hours and 15 minutes, which is going to give you about an hour and 15 minutes more warmth on the highest setting. But the one thing I haven't shared about the Venustas vest yet is that it does come in a Pro and a Max version, offering bigger batteries, thus giving you the same opportunity for longer use as a Chaparel. One more thing that Venustas allows you to do is to choose a vest that is going to fit your needs as far as where you want the heat. Now, the vest that I tested has the heat in the upper portion, like I explained, but you can order this same vest with heat in the pocket area, being very similar to what I explained with the Chaparel vest. If you want the Venustas vest, you can certainly get it and have the heat be focused in the core instead of the upper area. But if you want the upper area, the Venustas vest is the only one that's going to allow you to do that, because the Chaparel doesn't give you that option. So of the 3 vests, which one would I choose? Well, I think it really depends on who you are and what you're looking for. If you're looking for the most budget-friendly option, I think the Soleilwear is probably going to be it most of the time. It was the first heated vest I ever owned, and to be fair, when I put it on and it was cold outside, I was happy because I was getting a little warmth that I didn't get before. But now that I've tried the other 2 vests, I see that the Soleilwear was quite underpowered, and my test showed that. Now, the Chaparel is the only vest that's going to allow you to set the zones separately. However, it won't allow you to choose upper body heat over lower body heat. It is only going to offer that core heat like I spoke about before. The Venustas vest is the only vest that had the YKK zippers, and it's the only vest that will allow you to choose whether you want the heat down here or whether you want the heat up here. I personally like both of these vests very well. I would think either one would be a great choice as far as keeping warm. This one does have a larger battery than this one, and that's why it tested the way it did, but this vest is available with larger batteries. And if it were up to me, I'd probably choose the vest that had the YKK zippers just because I know their quality. And I'm personally never gonna use the feature that allows me to set different zones at different settings. It's just not something I'd use. I'm pretty much always on high all the time, anytime I'm wearing heated apparel. I hope this video helped you out. If you like this kind of content, then hit that like and subscribe button. Also, I'll link all 3 vests down in the video description. Those are affiliate links. They help us out at no extra cost to you. I really appreciate it when you use those. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.